Ooh, what's cracking, y'all? Hold up. I'm about to speak up. I just made one a second ago. You can barely hear my voice. I'm trying to kick it. I'm getting crushed out here. But if y'all knew the loser, if y'all knew the cat, you know what I'm saying? If my exes is dogging me out, they got some room to, you know what I mean? I was a piece of crap. So, you got to deal with it. And but I was you be spoiled. You just be living and just be expecting, and you don't even expect that people are. You don't think it. You just don't be thinking about nothing. So that's all that I could say. Apologies only go so far, and so everybody just living this like, motherfucker, you ain't nothing. So and it just be like that. And I ain't talking about nobody else. I'm talking about how they look at me. You know what I'm saying? I ain't talking about me even trying to say nothing disrespectful to somebody else because at any point, any one of them, any person would have been like, "Nah, nigga, I don't want to deal with you no more." And it was me who was, got to a point where I was on some foul. You know what I mean? Just to be bogus because you get embarrassed. You know what I'm saying? You be talking all that good garbage, then all of a sudden when a girl be like, "All right, nigga, see ya." You know what I mean? Then all of a sudden you looking stupid. So then you flip it upside down, and that's what was happening. That's what was going on. And you get in these situations, you think you cool, and then all of a sudden a girl say, "Okay, bing," and then all of a sudden your card gets played. You know what I'm saying? You like then you different instead of being on some cool shit like you talk all that you gotta, show what you prove, and then you looking dumb, and you act it out, and that's what just made me the villain, the villain, because those people that what I mean. That's what one of my homeboys back in the day was like, nigga, what is you tripping for? And he ain't cool with me to just say, nigga, what is you trying? What are you talking crazy for? She was always, what are you acting stupid for? As far as the game was concerned, what are you what are you talking about? So man, I'll freak out on him because it was like, nigga, yeah, she a freak. So yeah, whatever it's gonna be. And so it's just like because I always been type I can, you know, we all can you can do whatever with anybody. We old now. You see this video 2026, we talking about shit that was in 96. You know what I mean? Some so old that it ain't even worth talking about no more. So it's just, but you getting demolished by cats that's just getting introduced to the game, goofy before you was even born. But they get something, they need something to talk about because everybody that's 100% is like, who are you? These cats do this. It ain't even. Yeah, the worst that cats do in the circle is puff a little bud, sip a little something, get a little too drunk. That's the worst. Then you got these cats that's on something that's disgusting and to do any say anything, do anything, just for one because they recognize you ain't even on the social level. You ain't nowhere close. You are nothing. You are nobody. And so it just when they recognize that and be like, man, everybody sit around and say one thing, you expecting that cat's gonna come through all this bull nonsense and be on some arrogant and on some or just not even arrogant, but just on some ignorant garbage. And so once they figure out like this cat ain't even nah, because they was thinking well, because like I say, you eliminate yourself from the circle, and then who they got to listen to about you is the females you used to kick it with. Like nigga was foul with me. You know what I mean? It was bogus with me, and then you got him around for what you got him around for. I realized throughout life that I'm just not banging all day long. I gotta want you. I gotta really want you, and that's what I learned throughout life. Yeah, you see this nonsense, you see the porn, and you see the garbage all day long, but to live it, I really want my woman to be my woman. I'm not a freak, and I learned that about myself. I'm not just some nasty cat. I really am. I want her to be mine, and I want to respect her. I want her to respect me. We got to play the game now. I'm looking up at the clock because I make some of these they be too long, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'm not putting no phone numbers in these things. So, but it just be, you just, I learned that about myself, and so you have people around you playing the game, you playing the role, and whatever else. But everybody's as cool as everybody else. what I'm saying? Ain't nobody. Everybody's as cool on their level as everybody else. Ain't nobody no squares. Ain't nobody no lame. Ain't nobody dumb in the whole situation. And now you got these other cats out here that's real deal losers, and they'll just say anything to it because they see the cat got shine, and be like, "I never expected that." And then they look at themselves and be like, "Man, if you seen how some of these cats were, if you seen them, and how they get down, and how they live their life, you would be like, man, you are the most disgusting, worthless piece of trash I've ever seen in my life." And they sit around and they do this stuff, and they just act a certain way, and it's so horrible. And you know what I mean? It's just, I was foul. I was oh, I got exes that hate my guts. You know what I mean? Because I was terrible. And I'm trying to keep my language. I can sit in here and talk all crooked and make it sound all and whatever. But just to keep it 100% so that we can sit back and just watch it. I like for anybody to. So when you get to cussing and hollering and talking stupid, a lot of times, that turns people off. So I want anybody to be able to listen to whatever I got to say if they're interested in listening to it. Then I want somebody to be able to, and not have to hear all that garbage because I'm trying not to talk that way. Sometimes I will if I'm laughing, if I'm bent enough, then I'm gonna sit back and talk a little silly. But when I'm trying to really get a point across, and we're gonna keep it 100, we're gonna keep it kind of level headed here. Then we can do that too. We intelligent enough to know how to do it. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gotta talk to it. You can be mad enough and then be like, you don't care what you say, or if you're silly enough and you don't care, trying to giggle, trying to have a good time. Right now, it's just I was real foul, and then you see this other stuff that's going on around here, and just be like, yeah, you know what I mean? And it just because they out here on the curb, they nothing, and so it's just I'm on the grind, but look at this, hear what we doing, and so people will see like this cat here. I'm trying to get it in the biggest way possible in it. And so you got these cats out here that's saying doing anything because they recognize this kid. They're having something to say because they're jumping on my thing saying, hate him, hate his guts. Da, 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 da. Who were they before then? Who were they before me? See what I'm saying? Did you ever? Who is this person? Where'd you come from? You know what I'm saying? I did this, and then that person said over here was like, "Oh my God, I can get my voice heard by throwing some salt." And you recognize it throughout all of time. I gotta check the thing and make sure I ain't going over the time limit. But you recognize all through time it's just the individual, and then it's the people who do it. And so you'll have that person out there who can, and people who out there who understand what I'm talking about, understand what I'm talking about. You can stand here, and then you're gonna have those who grab hold and try and figure out something because they can't do it themselves. They just cannot. They're not made that way. They're losers. They're second string. And so that's the best way that they can get on board is to grab hold of somebody else who got that, who got that swagger, who has that whatever about them. So it's figure out a way. Because when you look at them, you'll be like, ugh. And when you listen to them speak, you'll be like, yeah. And you'll be like, you ignorant, you dumb, you're slow, you're all these things. I messed up because I bit the crap out of my lip with these damn seizures because it's epilepsy nonsense. Wasn't born with it. Had a fall, 22 feet. One of my exes, what I'm saying, when we was all together then, she'll be like, nigga, I wish you would have died. Because it was all kind of surgeons who was like, I can't believe your ass lived with that fall. And then, what I mean, the worst thing you got is some titanium in my face. That's how good the surgeon was. I got titanium all in my face. You can't even tell. So, what I'm saying? This is cut down here because I got it in my chin too. Then you have cats that'll be like, nah, what no fight, what no punch in the face. My lip is messed up because I bit the crap out of my lip having one of these seizures. So that's why that's terrible. So you see me take a picture and I'll be doing something like this here because my lip looked like I got clocked in the, what I'm saying? Yeah, it's terrible. So, and it's not, I'm an old man. I'm just saying, you be talking, trying to do this thing here and see just right there, boop. And so, you'll have people who don't know me at all, and you have, sillies and and just, yeah, okay, whatever. You're average. So good for yourself. But it's nothing. So it's just, but I don't like it. Of course, I don't like it. You wouldn't like it either if you had to deal with the nonsense. If you never had it all your life, and then all of a sudden you bite the crap out of your lip, and then you stuck with it. So no, you wouldn't like it either. And now it's right here in the middle of your face. Come on now. It's like if your nose is broke crooked, and you'd be like, yeah, it wasn't like this before, but it's like that now. funny looking ass nigga. So it is what it is. But I'm gonna cut this off, and so my fault. My exes deserve to be able to. My shorties deserve to be able to say, "Ugh, we hate you," because I was so mean. I was so didn't do nothing, wouldn't participate because I'm doing all this with women I never wanted to be around in the first place. Other than what can you do for me? The one, and she was the same. She was super beautiful, super intelligent, and super can be as evil just the same way. She whacked the shorty. She's like, "Man, I don't want to have no kid with you." And I find out later on, motherfucker, like, man, she aborted your shorty. You know what I'm saying? That's how foul. So you just think how foul you gotta be, how evil you gotta be with the woman, how evil you gotta be for her to say aloud to other people live with and know. Now I know, ugh, get this thing out of me. I don't want to carry his genes along. You know what I'm saying? So I was a foul cat, and they ain't looking for no sympathy, looking for no kind of no, because I don't deserve it. And if any, they'll be like, motherfucker, if you want to do some patting on the back, bring it this way. That nigga don't deserve nothing. And karma is great because you do your penitentiary, you do your county, you do all this, you do all that, because she can't beat your ass. She ain't, so they'll be like, okay, well, here, we'll put this on you. You sit in here for a little while, or things like this there, and figure it out. And so you got to go through that because ish, and you deserve it. You got to figure it out. How if you're fortunate enough to get the opportunity to figure it out. And so that's what it is. So now I got to go through all this secondhand garbage because of what it is. Other than, and I'll say this part and do this because when you have creeps and morons and nothings come digging through, then I mean, I just kind of I want y'all to know to tap them and be like, who are you? I'm saying, what do you do? Who are you? Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Do you actually is this your account that you're doing this nonsense with, or are you just grab some picture from out of somewhere, but just jump around here so that somebody can, what I'm saying, will figure that part out. So just know who you kicking it with, know who you getting your shit from or your information. My fault, because I'm gonna holler at you like this here. I wish I could holler at you when we sitting back and puffing something together and really kicking it, but this social media nonsense. This is how it is. You got these cowards, these losers who can sit around and hide behind this garbage and think that they own something. Ugh, it is what it is. So you got to play the game the way that the host gives it to you. Okay, this is the rules that we got to play this nonsense by. Oh, okay, this is your okay, okay, okay. If I'm gonna hang out in your little circle, then I got to play the game this way. Oh, okay. And so you do it, you deal with it, and you see these cats. If you on a certain level of the game, people who know what I'm talking about know what I'm talking about. These cats ain't even. They so ugh. But then you look at them and you see their face and just be like, oh, okay, that's why. And so you just be like, yeah, just like if you're gonna have players, you're gonna have nobodies. And that's just the way that the game has always been forever. And I ain't nothing. So I'm just saying, that's the way that the game has always been forever. You're gonna have people who appreciate, you're gonna have those who hate. Top, bottom, always. So anyway, we're gonna be 100%, y'all. Yeah, this is how we get down. I'm just able to make these goofball videos now. Think.